Happy New Year, everyone! My name is Kelly Anderson, and this is Fanimated, the animation fan podcast where every week we get a chance to geek out about our favorite animated media. Today, Emma Martin and I are talking about Fruits Basket, the 2001 anime based on the manga by Natsuki Takaya. Although the show only ran for 26 episodes, it has gained a huge and loyal fan base. And after almost 20 years, Fruits Basket fans have a lot to look forward to in 2019. So let's get started and let's get animated. Oh, I'm gonna cry before we even start.
It's just beautiful life lessons and everything. You know? Nothing much.
Oh, where's my notes? Where is my notes? Where are my notes? I know English.
Yes, you do.
Emma, what Chinese zodiac symbol were you born under?
I was born as the boar.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was a dog.
Oh.
So that makes sense, because you're a year behind me.
Yeah. Though my brother used to always point that out every time we would go to a Chinese restaurant. You know, they had the little menu. And you look at where your birth date is, and then you would figure out which animal you were. And Charlie, he thought it was the coolest thing in the world to pick out our animals. But every time he would be like, Emma, you're a boar. Like, each time would just kind of hit me, and I'd be like, thanks, man. Though, now after watching this anime, I can kind of relate to her character, which we'll get into. But
yeah, she's wonderful. So, Fruits Basket is about a family named the Somas, and they have a curse. There are different people in the family that are cursed with the spirits of the Chinese zodiac animals, as well as the cat and the Lord or the God. So if you're not familiar with the Chinese zodiac story, the one that relates to this show, is that a lord or a god was inviting all the animals to a banquet. And he said, come tomorrow and we'll have a big feast. And the rat decided to play a little trick on the cat and told the cat that the feast was not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow. So while all the animals are going to the feast, the cat was sleeping and missed it. So,
so
the
sad.
Poor cat. There are various other stories about how the animals get to the feast, because their order in getting to the feast is their order in the zodiac and what year they are and all of that. So quite often it said the rat jumped on the ox or the cow and rode the cow to the banquet and then jumped off of him and was first. So the rat was first, and then the ox, then the tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. That's all of them.
And the cat was left behind and didn't get to go to the banquet.
It's so sad.
It is really sad. I mean, I'm not a huge cat person, but the fact that that rat pulled that trick was very sad.
It was sad.
Left him out.
So the Somas have this curse, and so there's a person who's, cursed with the monkey spirit. And so what happens is, if those people who are cursed are under a great deal of stress, or if they're hugged or embraced by a member of the opposite sex who isn't under the curse, then they turn into that animal. So obviously lots of craziness ensues in this story, because Toru, who's just Toru Honda, is a normal girl from school, and she has been living in a tent because she doesn't want to be a burden on her grandmother. It's so sweet. She's an orphan, and the Somas, Yuki and Shigure, it's Shigure's house, but they're like, you should live with us. And she, of course, finds out the secret that they have this curse, and all of this stuff happens. And Kyo also ends up living there as well. So Kyo, Yuki, and Shigure are all cousins, all Somas, and they all are under the curse.
Yes.
Yeah. Basic plotline. How it starts, at least. So let's talk about Toru. our main girl.
Yes.
She's awesome. By the way, this is all based off of a manga that is super, super, super long and super, super, super great. I might mention a few things about the manga story-wise, so spoilers if you haven't read the manga. Because the anime ends before the manga ends, so that's kind of sad.
Yes. So Toru, she is the most selfless person that I've ever seen as a character before. She puts others before herself constantly, and she is burdened with this grief of her mother's loss in the last year. Like, her mother died tragically in a car accident, and yet she's always so positive, and that's what makes Toru stand out from everyone else, is that despite what she's going through, she still chooses to be positive because she's alive and she wants to, you know, make life worth living. And it's really cute because she carries a picture frame of her mom with her everywhere and, like, talks to her like she's still there.
Oh, so
and
sweet.
You know, I wonder if she would continue to do that, like, after so many years. Maybe she would soon move on. But for the present, you know, she's using that as a source to just talk with her mom who isn't with her anymore. I said that she was selfless. And one of the examples that actually just really moved me, and it was the very first episode when everything's being introduced, was the fact that she is living in this tent, and how she has the opportunity to live with her grandpa, but she doesn't want to be a burden, so to speak, on the family. So she chooses to just live on her own. And though I really admire that, it kind of hit me in the fact that sometimes we choose not to let others help us. Like, we want to be so independent that in the end it just causes us to hurt our own selves, which is something that I just really needed to hear, because so often, like, I don't want to end up living in a tent because I'm just trying to make everybody happy either. Right. You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know, that was just, like, something that really stood out to me about her.
Right. Like, you have to take care of yourself to be in a good place in order to help others. And I mean, Kyo even says to Toru at one point, like, you could stand to, like, complain more and ask for help more.
Right.
And
tell people what you want.
Yes, exactly. Tell people what you want, because she doesn't at all, ever. She is very much like, everything is fine, and oh, I haven't, like, she'll even cook dinner and do all this stuff, and she's like, I still haven't done enough for you. You know, she's just such a generous spirit.
Or some people are just rude and mean to her. Even the boys who live with her sometimes are just like, I just want dinner right now. And if I were there, I'd be like, well, go make your own dinner then. But she's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll get right on that. Like, you're so kind.
She has so much patience.
Yes.
And I mean, that's
and
how,
perspective.
Yes. Like, yeah. And that's how she really gets to have a good relationship with the Somas, because she does have patience, and, like, she is really strong. Like, she can take a lot from people. And, you know, not let it get to her. So.
Yeah, a lot of people look at her as kind of, like, I guess dumb maybe, or, so a lot of people consider Toru as more naive. Like, she doesn't get things easily. Like, she'll just be so kind that it just kind of flies over her head. But I think she just provides perspective. Like, sometimes especially Yuki and Kyo, they see the world so black and white because they've always known that the cat is supposed to hate the rat and the rat's supposed to hate the cat. It's just always been that way. But Toru, you know, brings this perspective of, well, do you have to, or are you just choosing to do that because it's what you've been told? Right.
So let's talk about that rat and that cat quick.
Yes.
So Yuki, we'll start with Yuki. Yuki Soma is also goes to Toru's school, and at school he is very much, I mean, they call him Prince Yuki because he is popular boy. Everyone adores him.
He's got his own fan club.
Who is like, these girls are hilarious.
They're all in.
They're all in. This gaggle of girls are totally obsessed with him. And he is cursed under the Soma family curse, and so he turns into the rat. He has the rat spirit. And Kyo is his cousin, who is also Toro and Yuki's age, and he is cursed with the cat. So Kyo is cat spirit, Yuki, rat spirit. And they do not get along at all. Because just as in the story of the Chinese zodiac, the rat duped the cat. So they have always been fighting, for whenever they see each other, they just always start fighting. And Kyo has just, at the beginning of the series, just came back from like 4 months of training in the mountains to like, because they can all like do karate. And so, Kyo is trying to beat Yuki. That's his like ultimate goal at the beginning. He just wants to beat him.
Yeah, to win in a fight.
Exactly. Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Kyo has much more of an anger management problem. Like Yuki is over here. Yuki will be over here like cool and calm and collected and like mysterious, cool guy. And then Kyo is like,
let me fight him.
Yeah. And
what did you say to me? I mean, he is a ginger, and I can say that because I am a ginger.
Oh man, yeah. And Kyo, I forgot how much of a bad mouth he has.
Yeah, he's quite a rebel teenager, still trying to find his place. I mean, he's been, most of the Zodiac, the people who were cursed with the Zodiac, they have been rejected by a lot of people in their lives, but Kyo is especially rejected because he is the cat who didn't come to the banquet, who was not at the party. Mm-hmm. So Kyo, I think a lot of his anger really like comes from the fact that, he is not like a part of even his own family as much as the rest of them are. Right.
Kyo really struggles with wanting to be a part of the family because he is kind of, siphoned off in the way of he's the cat. He's not in with the rest of the group. And he really admires Yuki for being like such a good leader with people. Like Yuki is good with people and like, can lead, and he's on the student council and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But then on the opposite side, Yuki really admires Kyo because since Kyo isn't a full part of like the family curse thing, it's like
he's able to act normal.
Yeah, he's able to interact with people a little more and like be himself, whereas Yuki really like feels he has to hide himself and can't be personable with people and just be who he is.
And then on the other hand, Kyo, he wants what Yuki has to be accepted and part of the family and to not be so normal. So both of them admire each other, but they never say it because
they never say it to each other.
Of their pride.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What I love is that there is this continuous rice ball analogy.
Yes.
How Toru is the rice ball, a little more plain and simple. And I mean, it was initially something that she was picked on for with the Fruits Basket game.
That's why it's called Fruits Basket.
Yes, because like, the game, you call out different fruits and those kids like run around and find a new spot or whatever.
Each, like the children's game where each kid, like you're called a different fruit and then you say the fruit and that kid gets up and, and so they called her, well, you'll be the rice ball. And she was like, great, I love rice balls.
They're so delicious.
Yeah, but then the game went on and no one called her, her food rice ball. And so she realized that a rice ball doesn't belong in a Fruits Basket. And so she felt, excommunicated from the group. Mm-hmm.
So with this rice ball analogy, when Kyo and Yuki are both struggling with the fact that they want what the other has, Toru explains it how it's like having a pickled plum on the back of the rice ball. Yes. Like everybody has something, but it's stuck to their back, and it's easy to see the qualities in other people and admire them, but it's harder to admire your own. And with the way how the rice balls were made for their school festival, like the fruit was on the back side of the rice ball, and some of them were like mystery rice balls, so you not know what you were getting. But in the same way, like, she's like, well, sometimes you just don't realize what you have. It's just stuck to your back, and you just need someone to point it out for you in order to realize that you are special.
Yes.
And I just love how, and it wasn't just that school festival episode, but it carries on, and like there's even little animations of a little rice ball being like, oh, come on, get on with the story or whatever. So I just love that.
Yes, I love that analogy too. I wrote that down. That analogy is just so sweet and so true in life, because a lot of times you can't see things in yourself, but other people can, looking from the outside. And it's definitely true of Kyo and Yuki. Those crazy kids. Another thing that I love is that this anime starts out, and okay, this is 2001. The manga started in like 1998. It's very, rom-com craziness. It's crazy that we talked about Ouran High School Host Club and this one, because they're both like early 2000s romantic ones. We need to do some like fantasy or sci-fi or something. But anyway, whereas Ouran High School Host Club is like a comedy sandwich with slices of drama, Fruits Basket is a drama sandwich with slices of comedy, I would say. It's definitely hilarious and I laugh a lot, but it is like everything is rooted in these really deep like character conflicts and the deep rooted curse of the Somas and Toru's backstory, and everyone has baggage.
Absolutely.
But I love how it starts out and you're like, oh, Toru meets the school like cute guy, and oh, they have all these cute little interactions and wonderful things, and then you're like, oh, but wait, there's Kyo now too. It's like they make you think that you need to ship Yuki and Toru together. Like, I feel like it's set up that way for you to be like, great, I'm rooting for them. And then Kyo gets into the story, and he's like angry and doesn't know how to deal with anybody, let alone a girl.
He is all angst, let me tell you.
Yes. But it makes it that much sweeter when their relationship develops over time, and I don't know.
Yeah, I really love how Toru brings out the best in both of them, like how you get to see the characters develop through these, 26 episodes. I just, like, anything from, Kyo making leek soup, which he hates leeks with a passion. He hates them, but he's like wearing a mask and goggles so that he doesn't get any of the smell. But he makes leek soup for her when she's sick, and gives that advice of, maybe you should stand up for yourself from time to time. Or like, Yuki will, show and share his garden with her and watches out for her at school. And like, just all these moments where the guys are just so protective over her. They care about her so much.
They're always watching out for her.
Like, there's like this image of all three of them holding hands and she's in the middle. And, even though we obviously have ships in mind, like, it's really hard not to see all three together because they're all so good to each other. Like, they're great friends, they're family, basically.
They are the trio, and they are the core characters of the story that influence each other and like help each other to grow and change. And it really is like Toru comes in and really changes both of them, and they change her. There's so much character development, and I love it.
Yes, I think that's my favorite part about this anime is just how people grow and change. And like I said, Toru just brings so much perspective, and the guys are like, oh, I didn't think about it like that before. And I just love it when, like, she's away for a time and they're, like, all bummed and sad and just sitting around the table like, wow, there's no point to life since Toru's not home kind of thing. Like, when she's alone on New Year's or...
Oh, yeah.
When they, like, went to visit her mom's grave with them, and, like, they were kind of shocked because they had, like, a picnic. and on the grave, and
yeah,
they're like, is this like normal? Like, should we be doing this, or we're gonna be yelled at? They're like, oh, we're just hanging out with my mom here.
Right. Like, but, even in a sad occasion, like the anniversary of her mom's death, Toru is still like finding joy in just being with her friends.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Even before, like, okay, so I started, to rewatching it so we could talk about it, and I turned it on, and I was going to start to cry before the theme song was done. Like, it immediately starts, and I was like, I forgot how much I love this show and how much it makes me cry, and how wonderful it is.
And sometimes it's really the simple truths that hit us the most. Like, we can make... And granted, some of the topics that are covered in the episodes are deep and complex, but others are just simple truths that we just need to hear more often, because our lives can get so complicated that we forget, oh wait, yes, I am loved, or yes, I am a good friend to this person, or they see something in me, or, people care about me, like I am valued. Things like that, that you just need to hear more often, that are simple, that we don't hear often enough.
Yeah, like one of the biggest things that Toru recounts from her mother is her mother always saying, like, just be yourself and you'll be fine. And that's a really, really strong overarching theme, is just you are accepted for who you are and what you are, if you're cursed or not, or whatever traits you have. You're accepted and loved.
Right. All up until, the last couple episodes, where in these episodes, Kyo has a transformation. He is the cat spirit, but he's also, because he's, the zodiac creature that was not at the party, he's also an evil spirit of sorts, which, as he mentions, he did not choose this life. It's just a curse that, is on the Soma family, so this is what he has to deal with. But he has this bracelet, it's like black and white beads, and when it's off and, when it's raining, because rain stresses Kyo out, he transforms into this creature. And a huge part of that was just facing Toru, because they had grown so close together, and she's just learning about all this Soma curse and whatnot. Like, she's just a normal human being and being introduced to all this craziness, and the fact that this is something like that is actually terrifying and that would make you afraid, and having to show that face to someone he cares about so much, which is a huge step in that development. And I just love at the end how Toru is just so honest, and she says, Kyo, I am, and granted, she's not saying it this sane, like she's crying, but but she's in this, she says, yes, I am afraid of you in this form. This scares me. It does. But I care about you, and I want us to stay together. I want us to just go home and be our family like we are.
Yeah.
Like, I care about you. Things like that, which was huge for Kyo, because all his life his mother would continually say, oh, I love you. I love you. But he knew, like, deep down that she was afraid of him. Because, like, every morning she would check to make sure his bracelet was on. And so just knowing that someone cared for him and was honest about his other form. Like,
yes, so great. And it's like the whole, last 3 episodes are about this, deeper curse of the cat, and that, Yuki comes after him too.
Yes.
What is it? Kagure?
Kagura.
So, side note, Kagura has the spirit of the pig, the boar. And she, when this transformation happens, Kyo didn't want it, but his foster father kind of forced it, so that they were hoping that Toru would accept him. And Kagura was like, Yuki, aren't you gonna, go after him too? And Yuki's like, I hate him. Like, I've always hated him. Like, they've always hated each other. And Kagura is the one who's like, well, who said you had to be? Like, who said that you had to fight? And
right.
And that makes Yuki go after him too. And so when Yuki gets to Kyo, Kyo wants to run away. He doesn't want to face her. Kyo does not want to face Toru. Mm-hmm. And so Yuki's the one who like pins him down, is like, he's like, I'm tired of running away. You can't run away. We have to face this. And I love that scene so much because Yuki is like there for him too. And that's a huge part of their development and relationship.
Right. You just see how much they care about each other. Because yes, they do fight like every single episode, but like slowly over time, you're realizing that, they're starting to be more open-minded to being, friends maybe. Right. Despite already being relatives. But yeah, that moment at the very end where Yuki is pinning him down so he won't run away, that is powerful.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh.
And Toru has just been like wandering around in the rain and is soaked to the bone, and the poor girl, and is just like, Kyo, I accept you, and it's so good.
Do you think that the black and white bracelet kind of represents the yin yang, like balance? Like when he wears the bracelet, he's in balance, like he's not going into his other form?
I didn't think about that, but I like that.
Yeah, I was just curious about that, and I was just like, oh, I wonder, because, the zodiac, it all kind of fits together.
Yeah. The anime ends there, basically, with like, oh, we're all back to normal, and yeah, he has this crazy curse, but it's okay. Well...
And Aikido, which we should probably
Yeah,
mention.
Okay, Aikido is the head of the house, because he holds the spirit of the god or the lord who, asked the animals to the banquet. And he has probably even a deeper part of the curse than Kyo, because he will die young and he is ill and he has to like bear a lot of this. And he's also, that's kind of made him really, really bitter towards everybody. And he's kind of, his mindset honestly is kind of like, if I have to suffer, everyone's going to.
He's very abusive.
He's very abusive to everybody. And he's the one who wanted Kyo to transform in front of Toru. And when it happens, he kind of comes and pokes fun at Toru about it. And so after the whole ordeal, Toru is like, I would like to go see Aikido. And so she comes, and man... It's such a good scene because there's just this, like, you can feel the tension in the air.
Yes,
about
definitely.
it. And basically she comes and she's like, I don't really know why I'm here. And Aikido, like, grabs her hair, and Yuki, and it's so scary, Yuki and Shigure, like, come and, like,
and try to pull her away.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
It's so terrifying.
Because you know that Aikido could hurt her.
Yeah.
And wipe her memory away, too.
Yeah, it could happen. And instead of, like, lashing out, again, Toru has so much patience, and she's just like, it must have been very hard for you to be told your whole life from the moment you were born that you were going to die. And Aikido doesn't even know what to do with this. Like, he doesn't know what to do with this compassion. And he just, continues to yell and all these things. And eventually it calms down, and Toru leaves, and she's like, well, I don't think I did anything. But, Shigure is like, no. You definitely did. And so it's like the start of like this change in Aikido.
Which makes us so depressed that that's the last episode. Because you're like, what happens?
So that is, and it kind of ends there. And of course, the manga continues. Like, the anime goes through about like a third of the manga, I think. I got so sad that it ended that I tried to read more of the manga, and I did, but I'm going to be honest, I didn't get that far. So I didn't completely finish reading it.
But thankfully,
Oh,
coming in 2019, they are coming out with Fruits Basket. So
they're remaking the anime, guys.
Oh.
So we're going to get the entire full story in depth. The manga author is working on it, and because apparently she did not like the 2001
Really?
anime, which is surprising because it has such a big following and everyone loves it.
It's good.
Yeah.
And I really love the voice actor.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, me too. And no, because like they don't go as in depth in the anime as the manga does, and the anime, I mean, the two biggest changes. Well, here's where I'm like, okay, manga spoiler alert. If you don't want to know, skip ahead a little bit. I don't know. Do you know what happens?
I don't, but it's really okay. I haven't read the manga. Oh shoot.
Okay, I am not gonna say what happens in the manga, just because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, especially since a new anime is coming out and we can just all watch that and be happy. Okay?
We can all do it together.
But
Yay!
those who know what happens in the manga, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. But there are a few small changes, and I'm not going to tell you what they are because they're kind of a surprise when you read the manga, and they will be a surprise when you watch the new anime.
Okay, great. It's a good thing it's coming out in 2019.
Yeah, good thing it's coming out soon, and I'm so excited. I wonder how many seasons it'll be.
Oh, I don't know. The animation looks really beautiful.
Oh my goodness, the animation looks gorgeous.
Did you watch the trailer?
Yes.
Oh.
The details.
Because they flash a lot of the same scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's this particular scene where it shows all 12 of the zodiac animals as, like, garden stones.
Yeah, like painted.
They're, like, painted rocks. And we see that in the original Fruits Basket show a lot, just to kind of remind us of, what's happening. And there was a shot of that in the new trailer, but it was, like, enhanced, It
was, everything was so much more detailed.
It was very beautiful.
I mean, yeah.
Which makes me excited.
Yeah, oh yeah, this anime, because, this first adaptation came out like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah,
so it's
very
like
similar to Oran.
yeah. And the animation has improved a lot. So we don't know exactly when the new Fruits Basket will be coming out, but it will be probably later in the year. I don't know for sure.
Yeah. And then if you want to watch English dub, who knows?
Then it's going to wait. Yeah, you got to wait in the longer, yeah.
Which I don't know. I usually go for English dub when it comes to anime.
Yeah.
But man, I really just want to watch the story so badly.
I'm going to watch the subtitles. Man.
Maybe I'll watch it subbed and then go back and watch it dubbed.
Oh,
I've
for
done
sure.
that with many animes anyway. So
yeah, you kind of it's yeah, I do that all the time. Yeah, and the trailer is so short, but go watch it because it's so good. And it has the music and you're just like, "Oh, my heart."
It has the same music and it's just like, yes, okay, I'm glad they're keeping some things. Like I said, I wish they could keep the same voice actors, but obviously since it's been, a long time, I understand, of course. But, it was so fun listening to the different voices because it's just something that I love to pick up. I love to see, or rather hear, different voice actors and their different characters. So, one that I noticed was Yuki, who is Eric Vale. He's in Noragami. He's in Yono the Dawn. He's in Fairy Tail. Do you remember Kazuma in Noragami? He's like the intelligent piece that's in the god's ear.
Yeah.
That's Yuki. And then if you've watched Fairy Tail, he's Loki, who is one of the celestial spirits, who is like the lion.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And then another one that I was really excited about was Jerry Jewell, who plays Kyo, because I was just like, where have I heard his voice?
Where have I heard his voice?
He's Leon in Fairy Tail, who is Gray's rival.
Uh-huh.
So they are both raised by the same master. It's just so great.
They're like the same character.
Yeah, I know, right?
They're like the angry, crazy fighter people.
Right. Yeah, a lot of these people were in Yono of the Dawn and Fairy Tail. And there was actually a couple who were in Oran as well. Laura Bailey, who plays Toru, was Kanako. She was one of the girls from that all-girls academy.
Oh, yeah.
And then Kent Williams, who was Hattori, who was the seahorse in this anime. Mm-hmm. He was in Oran as one of the parents of... smart guy. What's his name? I don't know. It's been too long. But I just love hearing people I love do different characters.
You have a really good ear for it. Because I'm always like, I don't remember.
So, what are some of your favorite funny moments? Since it is a really deep story, like, we gotta appreciate the little comedic moments as well.
For sure.
What are some of your favorite moments?
One of my favorite episodes is one that you mentioned already, when Toru gets a fever, and then Kyo has to help her out, and Yuki comes and, like, helps her study for her test.
Oh, makes a study guide for her.
It's so cute.
So cute.
So definitely that. And also, I'll just say Shigure is probably one of my favorite characters.
Oh my gosh, the way he treats his editor. He's a novelist, by the way.
so Shigure is Yuki and Kyo's cousin, and he owns the house that they are all living in. So it's, Yuki and Kyo and Toru and Shigure all living in this house. Shigure is cursed with the spirit of the dog. And Shigure is like, how do I explain this? So Yuki is like, usually is like keeping a straight face and has it together. And Kyo is really funny in the anime in certain situations, but not because he means to be, but because like of his anger and like just how he just reacts very strongly to things. So it's funny. Shigure is funny because he wants to be, and he's good at it.
So true.
And he is a novelist, like you said. And throughout the series, he is just like doing horrible things to his editor by like running off on vacation when he has deadlines due. And like all of these things, he tortures his poor editor.
There was one episode where he already had his pages done, but he still like put her through so much, and at the end of the day was like, oh, by the way, here are the pages. And she's like, what? You had them the whole time? And she's just always weeping because she's like, why must you do this to me?
It's so good. And he knows how to, like, get the situation. Like, for example, when Kagura shows up, and at one point when she does show up, because she shows up several times, he's just like, why don't you and Kyo go on a date? And like gives them a grocery list, like go do the grocery shopping together. And like, he like just does little things like that to like, or he'll pick on Yuki and Kyo when they're fighting or whatever. But deep down, he's like, he has a lot of really, he cares for everybody, and he has a lot of good wisdom to partake on people. So anything that Shigure does is my favorite and is hilarious.
Well, you mentioned Kagura, and she is quite hilarious because as the boar, she's sometimes so, like, calm and collected, but when it comes to Kyo, who she's in love with, she gets really crazy and dramatic and, like, is yelling at him, like, don't you know that I love you? And just goes crazy all the time, so Shigure likes to pick on them.
What was one of your favorite funny moments?
Oh, so one of my favorite funny moments was in episode 6, and this is where Toru brings over her friends Rin and Hana over to her house for games and snacks, and just wants to kind of start introducing her friends into what her normal life is, I guess.
Because they're worried of her, and they're also protective of her, and so they also want to check it out to make sure everything's cool.
Right, and like, why are you like staying at the house of the prince, and why are you living in a house with all these guys, and why were you living in a tent? Like, things like that genuine friends are concerned about.
Yeah.
So in this episode, I just thought it was so funny because, everybody's trying so hard to hide the Soma curse because only Toru can know about it.
Right.
So constantly people are bumping into each other over and over and over again. So the poor guys keep transforming, and like Hana and Rin are like, wait, I swore that Yuki was here a second ago. Did he run to the bathroom or something? Like, and they're just so confused and they're doing their best to hide it. And like when they come back to being human after being an animal, they unfortunately are in the nude. So, you know, that's embarrassment in itself, I guess, when you've got company. Right. So, like, by the end of this scene, the guys are just, like, in the bushes in the backyard, and Shigure is just, like, doing crazy dances, and they're like, where have you put yourself? But that was probably...
Yeah, that's one of the best episodes.
Like, one of the best episodes. But also, a shout out to... Ritsu, who is Spirit of the Monkey.
Yeah.
Him and his mom. Like, because you don't really meet his father in the series, but they are just so crazy dramatic and, like, constantly apologizing for everything. And it's just so funny. Like, you think they're all timid and calm and collective, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And, like, his mother, like, when they were at the spa retreat area, the hot springs.
Yeah.
She's just like, let me take you to your room. And, like,
yes.
It's like, oh my gosh, woman, you're so stressed out.
Can I say, too, that... in all these animes, there's often at least one episode where they go to the hot springs, you know, because that's a thing in Japan.
It is.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, can we have more of those in Minnesota?
No kidding.
It's just cold all the time here, and I just want to go to the hot springs.
Right. Oh, so nice to just, like, go to a beautiful place and sit in hot water. And, like, I mean, yeah, there are hot tubs, but
it's not the same.
Hot springs are natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would be really, really nice. And then I don't know, each character has their quirks, and that's what honestly makes it funny, is just their dynamics.
Oh, for sure.
So, what is your favorite Zodiac character? Let's maybe leave out Kyo and Yuki, since obviously we love them. So.
Yeah, obviously we love them.
And, well, should we count Shigure too?
Well... Shigure is definitely one of them, but outside of the three that live in the house,
of their family,
yeah, because they're like the main. But with the other ones, I would definitely say Momiji.
Oh, Momiji!
Momiji is the spirit of the rabbit, and he's younger than the teenagers. But
only by a year.
Only by a year.
Yeah. Everybody thinks he's in elementary school, but he's really like. In 8th grade, so it's fine.
Yeah, I said that, and then I had to take a step back and go, oh, wait, no, he's actually older than I always assumed he is.
Because when he's first introduced, like, Toru is just like, oh, he can sleep with me tonight, like, thinking he's, like, this little kid. And the guys are like, oh, you have no idea. Like, he's such a perv. Like,
But Momiji is just the sweetest, and he's the spirit of the rabbit, and he's just always so joyful, and... his backstory is really, really sad, but I really love it because for him, his mother couldn't stand that she gave birth to this creature, because when she held him, he would turn into a rabbit because she's the, opposite sex. Mm-hmm. And so she kind of went down this, like, crazy mental illness rabbit hole. Sad pun. And she was like, okay, well, I will get my memory erased because if people learn about the Soma family curse, they will have their memory erased and taken away. And so she opts to have her memory of her own son be taken away. And I mean, for Momiji to be so clearly rejected by his own mother is horrible, and yet he always like kind of spies on his mom and his younger sister and like keeps up with them and like tries to love them from a distance, and it's really, really sweet.
Yeah, he's also just so positive, similar to Toru. Like, even though he can never have his mother remember like who he is. For the sake of her sanity, and his little sister too. Mm-hmm. So sad.
Who do you like? Who's one of your favorites? Wow. I know you like Kagura.
I do like Kagura, but she's not my favorite. Mm-hmm. Okay, right now it's a toss-up between Hitori, who is the seahorse, and Ayame, the snake. Because, and they're total opposites, guys.
Total opposites.
So Hitori is just so kind and considerate, and he just really looks after everyone. His backstory is also very hard. He was a doctor who was in love with this woman, and you know, the way that he first remembers her is when she said, "When the snow melts, what does it become?" And he would say, "Well, water, of course." And she responded, "No, you silly, it becomes spring." And the reason why Hitori attaches to Toru is because she says the exact same thing. And it kind of reminds him that, okay, so maybe something didn't work out for me, but there's still hope in life, which I really like. Anyway, but I really, you know, Hitori fell in love and they were going to get married. And then Akito was really ticked off at that idea and injured Hitori's eye. And Kana, who was this gal, she could never forgive herself for the pain that she caused. And so she basically begged to have her memory wiped. And it's just so sad because they were so in love and they were about to get married, and
Akito ruined it.
And Akito ruined it, thanks.
Just like he ruins everything.
So I just really admire that he looks after everyone, and it's just so sweet. Ayame.
On the opposite end of the spectrum.
The snake.
He's Yuki's brother.
Yep.
Which makes it funnier because
They're nothing alike.
They're nothing alike at all. It's great.
Ayame is just like so confident and so dramatic, and everything is a song when you're Ayame, and like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that and I'm going to be the greatest person ever. Like, he's just so full of life, which, next to Yuki is just polar opposites.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy the episode where Toru's trying to bridge the gap between them, which I think is just really cute.
So cute.
Gosh, but they're all so great. And then you've got Kisa the tiger and
she's so sweet.
And Hiro the lamb who has a crush on her. And like, oh my gosh, all these characters.
And they all love Toru.
And they all love Toru.
Because Toru is the best.
Yes.
And bridges the gap between all these people and just is so great.
Yeah, basically every episode you're meeting another one of the Zodiac characters because they're like interested to know who this Toru is. And then, you know, there's eventually like, you know, when Toru is sick, she's got like 5 members of the Zodiac.
Momiji comes and is like,
is she okay? And literally she has a cold. Like,
it's just a cold. And because Momiji, like, Toru works after school at the building that Momiji's father like owns, and so Momiji's like, it's okay, I'll take her shift for the night, and like is running around cleaning, and then comes straight to the house and is like, is she okay? It's so cute. She, you know, because the Soma family is so tight knit and closed off because of the curse that it's unusual to have this random girl around, and she's just so sweet and accepting of everyone that she really becomes part of the family.
Well, we know what's coming.
Oh, we gotta talk about ships.
Captain Emma here on the ship today. What's our forecast?
What have you got for us, Emma?
Okay, well, clearly the anime points us in 2 possibilities, mainly. You could, you know, go so many different ways, but the 2 top ships that are occurring are Yuki and Toru, or Kyo and Toru.
Yep.
Kelly, do you have a preference?
I do. I really genuinely like both of them a lot. Yes. Okay?
Like, she would not be bad, or she would not be like in a bad place if she chose one or the other, honestly.
Right.
But
like, okay, when I think of Yuki and Toru, I'm like, yes, that would work very, very well. It would be great. They would be very good together. and it would be wonderful. But I just really have an attachment with Kyo and Toru. And because, like, yes, Toru helps Yuki and helps him feel accepted and all these things. But I feel like Kyo changes so much more drastically when he's with Toru. And I really like that. And because he is learning how to be around people, and because of her, because he wants to be her friend, because she is like, I hope we can be friends. And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna like figure out how to be around
open
people.
my heart up a little.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
Yeah.
And I really love that dynamic of like when, you know, he's making her soup and all these things, and it's just a great example because he spent all this time making the soup, and then he goes to Shigure and is like, here, bring this to Toru. And because he doesn't want to go up there, you know, he's all like nervous and stuff.
Yeah.
And Shigure is like, nope. And another reason.
Shigure, we love you.
We love you. Another reason I love Shigure, because he knows, he's like, nope, you have to do it. And so, so Kyo goes up there with the soup, and, you know, he's just being all like grumpy and angry like he always is. But Toru's so sweet and kind with him, and then he's like, you know, I'll listen to what you have to say, you know, like, like you can talk to me, you know, like, it's such a boy thing. It's so cute. So that is my choice. I choose Kyo and Toru. What do you choose?
Okay, well, I would have to say the same thing. I'm all for Kyo. But I do want to explain, you know, why Yuki would be good too. Right. He is just very kind, and it's hard because he is the first one that Toru, like, runs into, and he's the reason why she has a place to stay, and he's the one who's invited her in, and, like, they first became friends. And so that's why it's like, oh, this is where it all started. Like, it brings you back, and so that's why it's like, oh, like, they'd be so good together. And they do have a lot of really sweet moments. Like, they... You know, he takes her to his secret base, which is a garden. So adorable. And, like, plants strawberries for her because he knew that she'd like them. And he's just always considerate of her and the relationship that the three of them have together.
Right.
Like, you know, pinning Kyo down at the very end when he wanted to run away. But alas, I just freaking love Kyo.
Yay!
Like, just the fiery temper. It's so great. It makes me laugh so much because he's just learning how to be himself and how to have friends, because he's never really had friends because he's, you know, been an outcast the majority of his life. But like when he has those moments where he slips up and he's like, oh, well, you really are something, or like, you're like, oh, what?
What,
also,
are you saying something nice? What?
Shigure only points out to Kyo and Toru that, oh, looks like they're having a lover's spat or whatever, like when they're like not fighting, but like going back and forth, like kind of a banter.
Right.
And he never says that with Yuki, so it's just like, he senses something.
Yeah, I know something's up.
Or like, Hana and Rin will talk about, can you imagine if Toru's mom met Kyo? Yeah, she'd give him such a hard time. And who does the mom give the hard time to? You know, the guy that likes her daughter, right?
Right.
So, anyway, I just love how both Kyo and Toru like better each other, because he is the one who says, hey, you know, you could stand up for yourself once in a while, and
ask for help and tell us what you want, like, because, you know, he wants to help.
Yeah. And he just really cares about her, even though he doesn't always want to show it.
Yeah, he doesn't quite know how to communicate it, and you know, he can't really even communicate it to himself, you know, that he totally has feelings for her.
Right. I mean, with the episode where she was sick, he did say, like, one of the quotes I wrote down was, just get better or I won't be happy.
Aww. It's like saying those sweet things, but in such a, you know, Kyo way.
Right.
Of like,
And like he, what amazed me is that not only did he make soup for her, but he's like, I can cook. Like, I will do this stuff. Like,
yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? You can do things? Like, good for you.
Yeah.
I also think she just has a special connection with Kyo because she is such a cat lover. Like, from the very beginning of the episode, she's just like, the cat was always my favorite because I felt bad for him that he didn't get to go to the banquet. Like, and she, like, cried over the story when she's a toddler.
Yeah.
So she has a special place in her heart for cats and... Well, what do you know? Kyo is the spirit of the cat, so I mean...
And
so it's kind of destiny, but...
they have a very Beauty and the Beast vibe, and I'm all for it.
Yes, definitely. There is kind of, like, a confusing point where, like, you almost think, like, Hitori likes Toru, but I don't know how much older Toru... Like, because they're older cousins, but it doesn't really say, like...
I think because Shigure, Hitori, and Ayame are all kind of around the same age. They grew up together.
Right, because they went to high school together.
And I think they're in their late 20s.
Okay.
So it's a gap.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. I kind of figured so. Yeah. But as far as ships go, I know that that is, you know, something that has been mentioned. But not all for that.
Yeah.
Kyo all the way.
So if you like Kyo and Toru, what do you think about Kagura then? Because Kagura has this huge, huge crush on Kyo.
That is a hard one because honestly, Kagura, she is so intense of a person. She'd probably be really crushed, which I feel really bad because there are moments where when Kyo puts up with her and is like, I don't like her this way, but... You know, she's being so nice to me, like, I should return the favor. But in the last episode, because I was thinking about this, I was like, and what about Yuki? I don't want him to be alone. Like, he deserves someone special. Like, but in the last episode, when Kagura is like, aren't you gonna, you know, run after him? Like, they have, like, a conversation, and I don't know, in that moment I was like, actually, Yuki and Kagura could be pretty good for each other because they're opposites and Kyo and Toru are opposites. You know, Kagura is so intense and Yuki is very calm. Right. And then you got Toru who's very calm and Kyo who's very intense. So that could work. But, you know, I don't know for sure. But it was just a thought that crossed my mind. Poor Kagura. She would be really heartbroken.
It's true.
But
then again, just like in that conversation when the change happens and transformation with Yuki, she is saying Toru is who Kyo needs right now and not me. Like, she recognized that. And so I feel like she can be very understanding of that. Like, I feel like if Kyo and Toru were together, she would understand and want the best for Kyo.
Because she cares about him so much.
Yeah, because she cares about him so much. So
that's true. Like, she loves him still, but because she loves him so much, she's willing to let him go where his heart desires. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Okay, this anime is going to make you cry. If you haven't already figured that out, just be warned. Because here I am, being all emotional.
Yeah, it's very good and very powerful. Like, I'm glad there are, you know, those bits of comedic relief along the way. Otherwise, it would be quite the journey.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, I think the most moving was probably not just with the transformation scene, because that was a huge part, probably one of my favorite parts, but, you know, when she is facing Aikido and has such compassion for him and talks about just living life. Like, even though it's not what you wanted or expected, like, make the most of what you have.
Right. And she's like, Aikido, you're alive right now. Like, you don't have to be, like, swallowed in your eventual death. You're breathing right now. Like, she, you know, wants to help him, like, you know, because he's kind of trapped too, you know, obviously. I mean, he's cursed too, and he, just like with everyone else, like being told all of these horrible things, like from the moment you're born, like you had no choice over it. And he even says in that conversation, like, I didn't have a say, or, you know, they didn't even ask me. That's what he says. And everyone was shocked by that because, you know, he doesn't usually
come across that way. He usually is like strong and harsh and
mean to other people, and just like, I don't know.
You don't get to see the hurt come out. Right.
He doesn't lower his guard about himself and how he feels about stuff like that.
Like,
I mean, he can be very aggressive and very like, you know, I mean, just like in that scene, he's like pulling her hair.
Right.
But
which could just, you know, not making it right, but sign of insecurity. You know. Yeah. I just, Toru really inspires me to just not take life for granted, and to just, I don't know, it's so easy to get down on all the little things. But there's so much that we have to be grateful for, and like there's this one episode where she's crying over the fact that she loves all of her memories. Like, it's when she like they're like they're considering like erasing her memories now that she's met the Soma family. And she talks about how she wouldn't want to give up any of her memories. All of her memories, good and bad, are beautiful to her because, you know, it's a part of her life, a part of what has made her her. Like, you know, she didn't want her mom to die, but she's grateful for the memories she had with her, and grateful that despite her being gone, she's found this family to just be a part of, and who loves her. And oh wow,
so good. And that scene with Momiji, when Momiji is telling her about his mom, they're both like, we have to keep those memories, even though they're painful now, because we'll be grateful that we have them later. And because it's like, it can be really, really hard, you know, for Toru, like the difficult memories of her mother, but it's like, if you struggle through that time of hurt, it comes a time of like really, really appreciating that you have those memories. It's deep stuff, guys. I would encourage people to, watch it, but also read the manga, and also watch the new series when it comes out, because I'm super pumped for it.
I'm really excited for it. Just to see all the characters and their interactions again, and getting to watch them develop again, because I assume, you know, starting from the beginning. So
yes, it's going to do the whole story, and it'll be more in depth, as well, which is cool. It'll be more in depth, and it'll be the whole story, and I wonder how many seasons it'll be.
I hope it is many.
Me too.
Not too many, but like enough
like,
to keep me for a while.
3 or 4. Is that too many?
No, not at all.
It's such a good story.
So have you been watching any anime lately besides Fruits Basket?
I have been watching Inuyasha. I'm still working through that. I mean, there's a lot of Inuyasha stuff. and Inuyasha and Kagome kind of remind me of Kyo and Toru a little bit. Although Kagome has less patience than Toru does. Toru has a lot of patience for Kyo, and Kagome will not take too much crap from Inuyasha. She will be like, fine, I'm going home. And then she does.
Love that.
But I've been watching Inuyasha. I also finally finished She-Ra and the Princesses of Power on Netflix.
Oh, I've added that to my list.
Yes, you should. As you should. You guys should watch it. It's probably not, my favorite. It's not going to make like the top lists or anything, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Like, I think it's a really, really well done show, and I think I have a few issues with plot, but the characters are solid, and so I think that's what matters the most anyway, is having strong characters that you care about, and I definitely care about them. So watch that. See where it goes.
Yeah, it's on my list.
What have you been watching?
I just finished watching all of the original Teen Titans. And oh my gosh, it was so good. Like, it just brought me back to my childhood because I would watch the Warner Brothers channel like all the time as my cartoons. You know, that's where, you know, Pokemon was.
Yeah.
So watching Teen Titans again it's just so funny, and like the characters are wonderful, and I love the plot development and the character development, and I love Robin and Starfire. They're so cute together and so freaking adorable. And they even have like a Teen Titans movie that's like an hour and 15 minutes where they go to Tokyo, and that's really fun as well. But just realizing like, wow, this is a really good show with a good storyline. Like, it wasn't just another cartoon on TV, but it was actually a really great story, and the animation is really fun too and colorful, and you know, you've got like Robin's hair that's always perfectly spiky, and, and like Raven and her powers are just really cool. She can like move things, and Beast Boy transforms into all these different animals. It was so fun to watch.
That's one of the shows that I didn't watch when I was younger and probably would have enjoyed. And now I'm like, man, everyone talks about it, and like that's their childhood, and I'm like, I need to watch this.
Well, if I buy it, which I may, you're welcome to borrow it.
Great. Oh, side note about Fruits Basket before we head out. It's plural. Yes, we are saying that correctly. It's Fruits Basket, not a fruit basket, as it would be here. But I don't know Japanese, but it's something with how they say things and words and language. So deal with it. It's Fruits Basket, plural.
Not fruit baskets.
No.
Fruits Basket.
That is correct.
That's how it goes.
Thanks, Emma.
Thank you, Kelly.
I keep trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like I could talk for another hour about Fruits Basket.
Yeah. I did see like one other thing. What was it?
Toru is too good for this world.
Yeah. But thank God she's in existence, so to speak.
Kind of.
I mean, in story form. If someone can create her, then someone's capable of being her.
Wow, that is so deep. Thank you. It's true. Everyone go out and be the Toru Honda of the world. You can do it. I believe in you. Well, again, I'm just going to say it again. Watch it. Read the manga. Watch the new series when it comes out. We got to find out what happens with the Somas. And their family
especially if any more romance blossoms, I could really use some encouragement right now.
And everyone else who knows what happens in the manga, like me right now, is dancing a little bit. All right. Thanks, Emma. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. I'm happy to be here.
Of course. And Happy New Year's, everybody.
Yes, Happy New Year. Happy 2019.
Yay.
Fill it with lovely memories.
Lovely memories. And although it's still technically the year of the dog, the year of the pig will happen in a couple, months anyway. So.
Oh, sweet. I am blessed. It's not so bad after all.
All right. Happy New Year's. Bye.
Bye.
Again, Happy New Year, and thank you so much for listening. Your support these past few months has been phenomenal. Remember that next week we will be releasing shorter episodes every weekday in honor of Voltron Season 8. So this is your last warning to catch up with the show on Netflix. As always, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Fanimated Podcast. You can also email us at fanimatedpodcast@gmail.com. The art for this podcast is done by me, Kelly Anderson. You can find me on Instagram at CandorDraw. The music is provided by the folks at Purple Planet, and a big, big thanks to Emma Martin for joining me today. Stay tuned and stay animated.